there. Put me on. Hello, hello, hello. How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? Yeah. Hey, hey, hey. How you doing? How you doing? How you doing, my loves? How are you doing? Such a pleasure as always to be hanging out with you again. And we're going to continue our conversation from yesterday, although I might repeat some of the things I said yesterday. But I really wanted to go a little bit deeper into it than yesterday because this is an area where you need as much encouragement as possible. Let's be honest. If you are going through what seems to feel like immense pressure because you have chosen to step out of your comfort zone and start moving towards the desires, the dreams, the vision in your heart, there will be times when it feels dark. There will be times when it feels like you're not even sure how to keep going, and yet you must. Well, that's what you don't have to, but you're that person, you're that ambitious spiritual person who really wants to live to the fullness of your potential. You know you have a calling, you know you have a purpose, you want to actually fulfill it. There are going to be times when it feels dark. There are going to be times when the pressure is on. Okay. So I'm speaking to you. If that is you, not somebody who's sitting on the fence feeling pressure because you're living the wrong life, but you're not doing anything about it. No, I'm speaking to you who are doing something about it. You know that you're meant for something more, and you've actually started taking strides in the direction of something more. This actually came about because 2 days ago or something, or 3 days ago, someone was listening to one of my live streams was talking about how even though she started her business and had been working it for a while, is now having to get a job to supplement the business. And I had to mention that these are things that sometimes online entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs don't talk about, business owners don't talk about. Those hard, dark times when it feels like nothing is ever going to work for you, and yet you keep going. And I want to encourage you that you are not alone in it, because I know what it's like to be in the middle of that nonsense and to start telling yourself that no one would ever be going through any of this. Nobody could going through what you're going through and come out the other side. You start to tell yourself that you're somehow an anomaly, that you're somehow different because it's so painful. And it does get really painful. It does. There's no doubt about it. It gets really painful. And you can convince yourself that it's only you that is going through that kind of pain. But I want to assure you that any successful person, even looking at me, honey, if you're looking at me as some kind of you're super successful person here, yes, I am successful. However, to get here, I failed more than most. Okay. I made more mistakes than most people. I dragged myself through countless dark times to get here to be able to speak with you, which is why I know when I was going through those times, and even now when I'm expanding to my next level and it feels as though nothing is shifting, it's encouraging to hear other people remind you that you're not alone. You're not the only one to go through something like that, and that there is the other side if you keep moving forward. So we're going to start by singing our affirmation, or carry on with us singing our affirmation, which is I am enough. I've always been enough. I will always be enough. And just for any of you that are new to this whole community, I'm Rosemary Nominite. I am the prosperity minister, and I'm a business coach. I support ambitious spiritual people to thrive, to prosper whilst living in their purpose, to make at least six figures whilst living in their purpose. I encourage and empower you to leave behind the pain, the limiting beliefs of the past so that you can rise victorious in your true design life. I really, really am committed to seeing everyone or anyone that is willing who is willing to live. I want to support you in living a free, a fulfilled, a financially abundant, a love drenched life, because that is your divine right if you will claim it. And sometimes in the claiming of it, this is when you start going through immense pressure. You can do hard things. I encourage you. We're going to talk a lot about this, but I really want you to understand you're not alone in this stuff. We'll start with the affirmation. I am enough. I have always been enough. I will always be enough. I am enough. One more time. I am enough. I've always been enough. I will always be enough. I am enough. I am know that, okay? That's why I've been singing that all this week. I have enough. Affirm it, affirm it, affirm it, affirm it to yourself over and over again, because if you're going through immense pressure right now, knowing that you are enough will also help you keep moving forward. Listen, just because we're spiritual doesn't exempt us from going through the darkness. Please do not buy into the idea that if it's proving difficult to build your vision, that must mean it's not of the divine's will. It's a lie. It's a lie. Just because you're spiritual does not mean that you will not go through dark times. You will go through dark times sometimes, okay? So expect that. It's just part of the whole thing. It's just part of the whole thing. Now, it's something to consider is the whole, what creates diamonds? What creates diamonds? It is the pressure that coal, that carbon is put through that then results in diamonds. So yes, you may feel like you are going through some immense pressure. It is because you are called to a mighty work. You are called to make a difference in the way you imagine it. All that stuff you see in your mind's eye, in your heart, it's absolutely possible for you. But for you to become the person who actually makes it happen, there's layers that need to be stripped off you. And that's what the pressure is doing. It is enabling you, if you will allow it, to strip off the layers. It's not about learning lessons, okay? It's not about learning lessons. The divine is not trying to teach you any lessons. There are gifts to be found. And the greatest gift, and I like to tell my clients this, is that you are the pearl of great price. The greatest gift is rediscovering yourself. And in order for you to do that, you're going to need to let go of many of the layers that life has placed on you. And those layers sometimes are hard to let go. You may not like them, but we still hold on to them because you identify so much with those layers. Now, this pressure is coming to help you let go of those layers. Okay? So notice, is there something you're holding on to that you need to let go of? Is there a relationship? Is there a way of thinking that you need to release so that you rediscover who you are? Because that will shorten the journey of immense pressure. That will shorten the struggle journey. Okay. So please understand that you are being refined. You are being made into more. You're made into something more. Okay. So allow the process to happen. You are becoming more strong. You're becoming more valuable. Allow the process to happen. Do not take yourself out of it too swiftly. Do not try to, we all want this instant gratification thing where, because you hear it all over the internet. Oh, I did this and then in 3 seconds I made $1 million. Yeah, nobody tells you the journey to that 3 seconds, okay? They don't tell you that it maybe took a decade and 3 seconds to get to the million. They only tell you about the 3 seconds, okay? Now, listen, do not buy into the nonsense. Do not buy into this instant gratification thing. There is a process. There is a time. There is a time you plant the seed, you allow it to grow in the darkness. It grows in the darkness, guys. If you keep pulling it out of the soil, trying to figure out, is it growing, is it not growing, it will die. And this is what sometimes we're doing when we are trying to get instant gratification, instead of recognizing that there is a certain amount of time that needs to happen between planting the seed and receiving the harvest. And I understand if it's been going on for a very long time, it can really feel like, yeah, but am I ever going to break through? And should I be reasonable and go do something else? Go do what? This is your purpose life they were talking about here, right? So what are you going to go off and do? Settle for something less? Are you kidding me? That cannot be your story, okay? The hero's journey, we all heard about the hero's journey. Well, maybe you haven't, but there's this Joseph Campbell, he has this whole analogy of the hero's journey, where the hero, starts off and it's also exciting and then dips into the ground, basically facing trials and challenges that can sometimes feel as though there's no way out, okay? But then, because you just keep putting one foot in front of the other, even when it feels impossible. So it's like for you guys in business, and maybe you've been trying to sell and nobody's buying, and they haven't been buying for a while, and it feels like you're going through some really dead zone right now. And there's a temptation to think, oh, should I change what I'm doing? Should I change this? Maybe what I'm doing nobody wants. This is why we must remember that you are enough. Your work equips people to prosper and it is worthy of rich reward and recognition. So even when on those days when it feels like nobody wants to buy what I have, maybe I need to change everything that I'm doing, maybe I need to change myself, stop. You've tried that anyway already. If you're the person I'm speaking to, the chances are you've tried changing everything and all of that. Actually, the one thing you haven't tried is staying on path persistently until your breakthrough. So yes, you are going to go through a hero's journey where there's ups and downs and ups and downs. Life is not linear. Life is not straightforward at times. Okay, let's be honest. The physical reality is always going to be changing. Yours is to learn how to surf the waves of the physical reality. So when it's doing its thing up and down, blah, 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 that you stay on your throne, knowing that you are capable of your calling. Okay, knowing that your vision is your permission and that what you are called and born to do, apart from maybe making it a bit more marketable so that people, when they hear what it is that you're offering, they know that it's for them. Apart from that, and if you're not sure whether the thing that you're offering is marketable, then get help. Okay, stop trying to figure this stuff out alone. But for the most part, particularly if you're an entrepreneur, stay the course. One of the things I know extended my journey was the fact that I kept starting new things, kept starting new things, instead of just staying focused on something specific. Okay. For any other area of life where you're seeking to bring about a better experience of life, just keep taking the next step. Keep taking the next step. Keep taking the next step. Life or the physical reality, as I said already, it goes up and down. It's inevitable that change is going to happen, and sometimes that change is painful. If you in some ways tell yourself, I don't know who is it. There's a guy, some guy that wrote some old book, said something about the thing that you need to understand that sometimes life is difficult. When you accept that life is difficult, then life actually becomes easy. And in some ways, there's truth in that. What part of me becoming this person is recognizing that just because I'm a spiritual person doesn't mean that I'm exempt from life being up and down and crazy at times. But who I am now, handling that, there's still moments when, frankly, it's overwhelming and I just want to cry and die, basically. But even when I'm crying and dying, usually my mind is saying, Rosemary, you got this. Rosemary, you've got this. You've got this. You just need to keep taking the next step. And that's the same for you guys. You do have this. You would not be exposed to something that is beyond your ability to overcome. You must know that. So you take the next step. You persist. You persist. Is it Thomas Edison that failed 10,000 times to get that light bulb? 10,000 times. Have you failed 10,000 times yet, people? If you haven't failed 10,000 times, then you are, you know what? So the point is, you can fail 10,000 times, just make sure you get up 10,001 times. There's power in persistence. And I know I even spoke about this a few days ago, but there's power in persistence because every single no, every single mistake, every single failure is bringing you closer to success. It's helping you get more clear as to what is the best thing for me to do next. It's helping you recognize, well, that didn't work. What would work better? Okay. So you persist, even when it feels insurmountable. Okay. You persist. Success doesn't always come quickly. Okay. When it's come, you can look back and it all feel really quick. But whilst you're going through it, it's like labor, giving birth to a child. Once it's passed, you can always look back and think, unless it was particularly terrible, you can look back and think, oh, that was okay. But when you're going through it, it feels like hell. And that's exactly what sometimes it feels like when you're creating a vision. It does feel like birthing a baby. It can be very painful, but you have what it takes to thrive despite the immense pressure you're going through. Remember, a butterfly goes through, in order to become that butterfly, it's a caterpillar going into the pupa or larvae or whatever you want to call it. But there's a process, isn't there? There's a process. The same thing with us. There's a process that we have to go through in order to become who we were originally created to be. Okay? Dark times do not mean failure. The dark times is usually when you're growing, when you're changing, when you're becoming strong. It's particularly if you keep your focus on what it is that you are creating. That's what we must do. Keep your focus on what you are creating. Lean into the divine. Feel loved by the divine. Keep loving yourself through this. So don't be harsh. This is not the time to be harsh with yourself. This is the time to pat yourself, pat yourself on the back and tell yourself you're doing a great thing and keep taking the next step. And I know some of this stuff is repetitious, but it is simple. You just keep taking the next step whilst leaning into the divine, whilst loving yourself, whilst keeping your focus on your vision, keeping it on your vision, regardless of what anybody says, anybody thinks. So some people that love you might even be trying to tell you, listen, give it up. It's not working. It's never going to work. And I still say to you, if you have a vision for something, keep going with it. Keep going with it. The breakthrough is on the way. It is inevitable that you will succeed. It just sometimes feels as if the dark times are going to go on forever. They will not if you will keep your focus on where you're going, if you will lean into the divine and allow yourself to be loved, and if you will love yourself enough to keep taking the next step, you will get there. I mean, even J.K. Rowling or whatever, how many times was she rejected before finally somebody bought that whatever, or somebody whatever, they accepted the Harry Potter thing, and now Harry Potter everywhere, a billionaire she is, all of that stuff. If she had quit in the dark times when she was on benefits, when she was on social security or whatever, where would we have read the Harry Potter books? How many ideas have died with people who have just given up? Do not join them. Do not join them. I'm hopping on about this because it is such an area where it can really feel like I should just give up. It's the reasonable thing to do. We've been trained and programmed by the regular world to quit, to give up when it seems difficult, to tell ourselves, well, it's just not right. It's not the thing to do. And in spiritual circles as well, it's even more prevalent, because then it's like, oh no, maybe the divine doesn't want me to have it. So then we blame the divine for our inability to hold our ground. Let's not be those people. It is all just feedback. Whatever you're going through right now, as you're going through this pressure, it's just feedback. And it's taking you closer to your ultimate success. Okay? Failure is, the only way to fail really is to quit. Okay? Making mistakes, going through dark times, it's just part of the process of becoming the successful, wealthy person that you actually want to be. Okay? I keep thinking of stories. I keep thinking of analogies, like the whole bamboo tree thing. The bamboo tree that I think it takes ages to actually start growing. It takes years to actually start growing. But then once it grows, once it comes out of the ground, it it comes out of the ground really quickly. Honey, if you've been in dark times for a while, it's only because it's like, I also heard this saying of hold the divine in your debt, because the reward is going to be amazing. When it comes, is going to be amazing. And that's the truth. So yes, if you're feeling as if you're going through particular hard times, it's because if you will stay the course, the breakthrough you're going to have, it's going to be amazing. Amazing, 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 amazing. Okay? Keep taking the next step. Keep taking the next step. 3 things to really, truly focusing on. Lean into the divine. You are not alone. Love yourself enough to keep taking the next step. Focus on that vision. See it all the time. Write it down. Speak it. Feel it. Feel as though you are there. Keep taking steps towards it. And I must say this, please don't do the lone wolf thing. There's a temptation when you're going through horrible times to start feeling ashamed of yourself, to start feeling like, I'm supposed to be somewhere else. How can I still be here? How can I still be struggling with this thing? And so then you start feeling ashamed of yourself, which then makes you withdraw from people. Well, in some ways, yeah, I don't want you talking to any random person who is just sitting on the sidewalk somewhere watching you and then trying to tell you to stop. No, those are not the people you want to surround yourselves with. You want to surround yourself with a coach, with a mentor, someone like me, or in some kind of mastermind group. It's like every 2 weeks there's a particular friend of mine. We're both entrepreneurs. We speak to each other to keep ourselves on track. I work with coaches. Same thing. You need something like that. This whole lone wolf thing, it will mess with your head. As in, because it's just you listening to your own thinking, you don't know what you don't know. So one, you could be struggling because you're making mistakes. And again, because you're not speaking to anybody who is able to give you feedback, you continue to make those mistakes. Or you just simply are going to talk yourself out of staying on course, because you're going to start feeling deluded because it's so hard. You're going to start wondering, should I just give up? Surely it's telling me, surely the signs are telling me that this thing is never going to work. Give up, give up, give up. And you will start talking to yourself in this way if you do not have someone who has either walked through it or is walking through it with you. Okay? So get into mastermind groups, work with mentors, work with coaches. Like I offer a one-off session. Reach out to me to find out more about it, just so that you can check in with someone other than just your mind. Because when shame starts taking over, or guilt because you're putting your family through difficulty because you're trying to build a business or you're trying to build a life, and you're dragging your children through this, that, and the other, and you start to feel guilty, you start to feel ashamed, and you start making choices from that guilt or shame, that will extend the struggle, because those choices are never good ones. Okay? Those choices that you're making from a place of desperation and guilt or shame will never result in the result you want. So again, please don't do this alone. Get support. Get support in order for you to overcome, to thrive, to rise. Get support, my loves. Okay? Active surrender to your vision. This is not a passive thing. This is a very active surrender. So again, sometimes spiritual surrender is weak. Oh, I can't do it. So, I'm just gonna just leave it. Just let it go. No, do not let go of your vision. Let go of the horrible emotions around it. Let go of those. But then active surrender is, again, where you're focusing in on your vision and you're completely surrendered to, I am bringing this to life. So it's complete surrender to yourself, because this vision that you're carrying, it's the life you are meant to be living. Okay. So active surrender is about surrendering to that life that you are meant to be living. Okay. So please, please, please get support. Surrender completely, but it's not a surrender of passivity. Remember, it's a very active surrender where you are continually keeping vision top of mind and continually taking steps towards it. Okay. You can't control the outcome. You can't control how quickly you're going to pass through the dark times. But what you can control is, will you keep moving forward? Will you keep taking the next step, regardless of how painful it gets at times? Okay? 3 things I really want you, and for most of the work that I do, 3 main things. Fall in love with the divine. So when you're going through dark times, you really need to know that you are loved, that you are cared for. Fall in love with the divine. Fall in love with yourself. Love yourself so much that you refuse to give up on yourself. You refuse to give up on your vision. You love yourself enough that you know you are meant to live free, fulfilled, financially abundant, and love drenched, and you will not stop until you have created that life for yourself and for your family. Love yourself that much. This is not a time for punishing yourself. This is not a time for lamenting all the mistakes you've made. This is the time for just loving yourself, that you are still on the course, that you're still on the journey anyway. The final point is, keep your focus on the vision. Keep your focus on the vision and do your best to make decisions from the vision rather than from lack of the vision, from a place of guilt or shame, whatever. Do not make decisions from a place of fear. Do whatever you need to do to feel better. If you need to watch something funny. I know when I was going through really horrible dark times, I even stopped reading self-help and all of that. If that helped me, the original parts of my journey, but I got to a point where I just didn't want to hear. I didn't want to listen to any of that anymore. So I started reading fiction again, because I needed a bit of a break, because it was really pressurizing when things are not working and you've been putting lots of effort into it. It can feel horrible. So I've had an outlet. My outlets, my two big major outlets, or three: music, the gym. The gym. I spent a heck of a lot of time at the gym, and reading fiction. Reading fiction and naps. Naps were good too, but sometimes you just need a nap to reset. So very deliberately take a break. Very deliberately just do what you need to do and then just stop. Stop worrying about it. Release it to the divine to bring it about. You've done your bit. Now release the rest of the divine to do his or her bit or its bit. Yours. You've done your bit. So those are things that will get you through this. Just don't quit. That's the thing. The other side is amazing. The breakthrough, it's amazing. It is worth every moment of darkness that you go through to get there. Even though you go through the valley of the shadow of death, you need not fear any evil, for the divine is with you. You are not alone in this. Keep taking the next step. Focus, lean into the divine, love yourself, focus on the vision. Lean into the divine, love yourself, focus on the vision. Listen, get a copy of my book, Remove the Blocks, just in case there are things that need to be cleared inside of you. Get a copy of that book, okay? It will help you clarify purpose. It will help you leave behind pain and limiting beliefs of the past. And it will also give you a step-by-step plan for a six-figure side hustle or business, okay? It's all in that book. Get it, just in case there are blocks and things in the way, so that you're not just throwing yourself at a brick wall and not actually, because that's the block. You want to get rid of the block so you're not throwing yourself at a brick wall anymore. You're actually walking through. Okay? Please don't stop. Don't stop. Reach out for support. Get the book. I will invite you to have a session with me or whatever. Take advantage of that. Get the book. Start with the book and then see what comes next. But for now, please, 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 please understand that what feels like roadblocks right now, what feels like it's never going to shift, it is in the process of shifting. The physical reality is always the last to shift. As long as you stay focused on what you're creating, you are a powerful creator. You will create the desires of your heart. It is inevitable that you will create the desires of your heart. Just do not stop, my loves. Do not stop. Okay? You can thrive under immense pressure. You do not have to wait for the breakthrough to come to start feeling better. You can choose to feel better with some of the things that I've suggested. What makes you feel good? It's okay to do that stuff. Be very deliberate in feeling better, because that will help you come up with more creative ideas to keep moving forward. Okay? Okay, we're going to leave it at that for now. Until the next time, my loves, you have what it takes. You can do hard things. Go forth and prosper. It is time for your fortune restoration and your fortune expansion if you will stay on course. Go forth and prosper. Share this with somebody else. Much amazing, amazing love. Bye.